On January 26, 2024, a family of 5 was inside their home on 94th Avenue Northwest in Coon Rapids, Minnesota. The household consisted of a father, a mother, their 20-year-old son, and 2 young children under the age of 5. It was a normal afternoon, with no indication that the family had been targeted or that anything out of the ordinary was about to occur. Shortly after midday, a navy blue Nissan Altima pulled up in front of the residence. 3 men exited the vehicle. 2 of them were wearing UPS-style delivery clothing, and 1 carried a cardboard box. Investigators later confirmed that this was a deliberate disguise intended to lower suspicion and gain access to the home. The suspects had coordinated their appearance and arrival in advance. Surveillance video later obtained by Midwest Crime and not released publicly at the time showed the men calmly walking toward the front door. One of the victims stepped outside, apparently believing the interaction to be a routine delivery. There was no visible...
But see, this is my thing. A routine delivery does not include you stepping outside your house. The delivery drivers made it all the way down to the end of the driveway. If this was a regular delivery, the man would have said, "Hey, I got a package for John," and John would have been like, "Yeah, that's me." Hand the package over, and everybody go about their way. Now, there is no UPS truck in sight. And, some may say, "Oh, that would have raised the red flag." But I guess in the moment, you're not thinking something crazy about to happen. You just not thinking that. You probably like, well, maybe they parked the block over. It's a possibility. But my thing is, when
video later obtained by Midwest Crime and not released
that's my problem right there.
At the time.
Why are you walking all the way back to the front door and they still got the package in their hand? See, that's the thing that got me. Hand me my package. Why you still got my package? But I guess, he just wasn't aware of the situation. That's obvious.
Showed the men calmly walking toward the front door. One of the victims stepped outside, apparently believing the interaction to be a routine delivery. There was no visible sign of alarm. After a brief exchange, the 3rd suspect was seen walking up the driveway after being signaled by the others. Within moments, the situation escalated. The suspects revealed firearms and forced their way into the home. Inside the house, the suspects began threatening the occupants and demanding money. During this time, the mother, 42-year-old Shannon Patricia Youngworth, managed to dial 911. She left the line open, allowing dispatchers to hear what was happening inside.
Now, this house has cameras all throughout the rooms in the home. Bedroom, living room, kitchen, everywhere. So, from what I've been hearing, this wasn't no random UPS fake drive. This wasn't no random attack. This was a planned, targeted attack. The mother and father were involved in some drug trafficking. And I don't know if the fake UPS guys were working with somebody and they got hired to do a hit out. Who knows? But whatever the situation was, they was there to collect some money. Now, for the parents who are trafficking drugs, my thing is this. You can tell they didn't have it all together, because why are they in the bed with no headboard? Like, they don't have no bed frame or anything. So it tells me that they were a struggling family, just probably trying to survive. From what I heard, he's from Mexico or something like that. So he must have got caught up with some drug trafficking to better his family, not knowing that his decisions would cost his family their lives.
Inside the home as the crime unfolded. The recording captured raised voices, threats, and panic. Prosecutors later described this open 911 call as one of the most disturbing pieces of evidence presented at trial. At some point during the invasion, one of the intruders turned his weapon on the father, 39-year-old Mario Alberto Trejo Estrada. He was shot once in the head in the entryway of the home. Medical testimony later confirmed that the gunshot was immediately fatal. Prosecutors characterized the killing as execution style. The violence continued. The suspects then turned their attention to Shannon Patricia Youngworth and her 20-year-old son, Jorge Alexander Reyes Youngworth. Both were shot at close range. All three adults inside the home were killed within minutes. Throughout the attack, the two young children remained inside the residence. Before fleeing, the suspects attempted to destroy evidence. Surveillance footage showed them pulling at cameras and attempting to disable recording devices.
But see, at that point, it's too late. The dude in the beginning already had his face mid-camera. Just what is that? This is my thing. It's obvious that these guys who did this crime, they're amateurs. Because if you did your research on the home and you scoped out the home, you would have seen that they had cameras on the outside of the building. Now, for you trying to pull the cameras, they got cameras all throughout the home. But of course, you didn't know that. And your DNA is all over the place. So why pull the cameras out now? That's just stupid.
During trial testimony, investigators stated that this behavior suggested awareness that the crime had been recorded, though it was unclear whether the suspects knew about the surveillance system in advance or noticed it during the robbery. Despite their efforts, the majority of the footage had already been saved. After the shooting, surveillance footage inside the home captured a moment that later became a focus of testimony. The older child, still a toddler, was seen pulling his younger sibling away from the area where his mother lay on the floor. Investigators testified that the child appeared to be instinctively shielding the younger one from what had happened. Both children survived physically. Prosecutors later emphasized the severe psychological trauma caused by their exposure to the killings. Police officers arrived minutes later, responding to the open 911 line. Body-worn camera footage showed officers cautiously entering the home before discovering the victims. The children were located alive and were immediately carried out of the house by officers. The residence was secured and a full homicide investigation
Now, what I want to know is, I wonder, do the kids have other family members that lived out there with them? Maybe an aunt, uncle, cousin, or was it just the parents with their kids out there? Because if those kids didn't have any other extended family members that could care for them, then the reality is those kids are going to have to go into foster home. That is just, oh my goodness. That is horrible. That is horrible. And parents really need to think twice about the things that they do when they're deciding to bring life into this world. Because the decisions that you make not only affect you, but they affect the people around you. You may the daddy may have thought, okay, I'm gonna traffic some drugs, get a little extra money. This ain't gonna harm nobody. You're trafficking drugs. Nobody's safe. Now these poor kids have to grow up in foster care because of the poor decisions that their parents decided to bring upon them. And then you have the older son who lost his life because of what they wanted to do. This story is just so horrible. I really feel for them poor kids, man, for sure.
Began. Investigators collected physical evidence, reviewed surveillance footage from multiple cameras, and canvassed the neighborhood. One of the first major leads was the navy blue Nissan Altima seen on video. The vehicle was traced to 39-year-old Alonzo Pierre Mingo of Fridley, Minnesota. Mingo was arrested later that same day after officers located him leaving his residence. During searches connected to the arrest, investigators recovered UPS-style clothing consistent with what was seen in the surveillance footage. Forensic analysis played a central role in the case. Fingerprints recovered from the cardboard box carried into the home were matched to Mingo. DNA evidence and cell phone location data placed him at the scene at the time of the murders. During courtroom testimony, forensic analysts explained how digital data showed coordinated movement between the suspects before and after the crime. Prosecutors identified Mingo as the primary shooter. As the investigation expanded, law enforcement identified two additional suspects, brothers Demetrius Trenton Schumpert and Omari Malik Schumpert.
Two brothers came from the same home. Ended up doing the same criminal activities. So you can't help but think, well, how were they raised? And I think it's very obvious. They didn't have nobody that they had to answer to. Because for two brothers to end up going down the same path in life speaks about the household they came from. Their parents probably neglected them. And it led them to roam the streets. Now look at them. Life over. Life is over. And again, all of this just stems from the parents. When parents don't give their children the tools that they need to be productive citizens, when they don't give them a good head start in life, this is the outcome. A bunch of heartless young adults roaming the streets without a care in the world. These young men are fearless. They're like, hey, my life was ruined. Fuck it. So they don't mind ruining somebody else's life.
Cell phone records revealed communication between all three men before the robbery and after the killings. Surveillance footage, forensic evidence, and witness testimony connected both brothers to the home invasion. During police interrogations, the suspects denied responsibility and attempted to minimize their roles. They disputed who fired the shots and claimed the robbery was not intended to end in murder. At trial, prosecutors countered these claims by pointing to the coordinated actions of the suspects, the use of firearms, and the execution-style shootings. Courtroom testimony from investigators described the crime as organized and deliberate. Medical examiners testified that each victim had been shot in a manner consistent with intentional killing rather than accidental discharge. Prosecutors also emphasized that the murders occurred in the presence of two young children, which became a significant factor during sentencing. Authorities stated that the primary motive for the crime was robbery. However, several questions remained unresolved. Investigators did not publicly confirm why this particular home was targeted or whether the suspects believed large sums of money were inside. Law enforcement stated that there was no evidence indicating the family was involved in criminal activity. The crime appeared to be either a targeted robbery based on incorrect assumptions or a violent crime of opportunity that escalated rapidly. Alonzo Pierre Mingo was tried first. A jury found him guilty on multiple charges, including 4 counts of first-degree murder. In September 2025, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Demetrius Trenton Schumpert was later found guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors sought an aggravated sentence, citing the extreme cruelty of the killings, the involvement of multiple offenders, and the presence of minor children during the murders. On November 20, 2025, he was found guilty on all counts and scheduled for sentencing in January 2026, where he faced a mandatory life sentence without parole. Omari Malik Schumpert was convicted in December 2025 on 5 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of second-degree murder, and 2 counts of aggravated robbery. He was also scheduled to be sentenced in January 2026. The case left a lasting impact on the Coon Rapids community and on the investigators who worked it. 3 members of one family were killed inside their own home in broad daylight. 2 children survived, but witnessed violence.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm surprised they even spared the 2 younger kids. Because if you could be that heartless and take out half the family, why stop at the 2 little kids? You might as well should have just, you know? Don't try to show sympathy. Don't try to show empathy now. Don't try to act like you care now. Oh no, we ain't gonna touch the kids. We care for the kids. Huh? That don't make no sense. So by them sparing the children, that showed me somewhere deep down inside, y'all had a heart. But because it got lost in so much damaging, It wasn't enough to spare the whole family. Now these young men's, their lives are gone. And it all stems from their upbringing. It's just what it stems from. It stems from their upbringing. Their parents failed them. And when your parents fail to give you the skills and the safe environment and the stability that you need, when they fail to give you all of these things, this the outcome. Hurt kids, growing up as adults, being a menace to society. This is what it looks like. Parents got to do a better job with having kids and actually being a parent. Just because you have kids, biologically, yes, you're a parent, but are you actually raising these kids? Because from what it looks like, a lot of these young kids that's growing up, the streets raising them. The streets are raising them. They so lost, don't know, they don't have no guidance. From the fake UPS drivers, family background, to the couple that was murdered. From their background. It all stems from how were they raised. And from what we can see, nobody had the proper guidance to be productive citizens. And it's unfortunate that now they have 2 young kids that are going to grow up without families. And who's to say that by them experiencing this, they won't turn to the street and become a product of their environment?